take his live pictures. What we know is this is a stolen black pickup truck. CHP started chasing this up in the Palmdale area. Juan and Susie, I can tell you they've already done a successful spike. You can see it. Look at the driver's side front tire. There is already smoke coming off of it. He is already going on the rim. Reports from the airship overhead, Air 29 from the Sheriff's Department, says he is still cruising at about 90 to 100 miles an hour. He is starting to slow down, though, as he has lost that front driver's side tire. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see sparks soon.
Mike, I remember not too long ago, we had a similar situation like this on the 14 freeway in the Santa Clarita area, and eventually the truck caught fire. So, I mean, it could happen. It
absolutely could happen, especially if he's going at such high speed still. That is the California Highway Patrol that is behind him right now. We've not heard any mention of Pitt. Certainly, if he is still up at those 90 to 100 mile an hour speeds, that is not anywhere near safe enough to do a pit maneuver. You've got 3 units and a sergeant that are in the pursuit. Sheriff's Air 29 is overhead calling this out for these guys. This guy, though, clearly not interested in stopping, even though he's already lost his driver's side front tire.
Oh, spike strips on the freeway, Mike?
Yeah, spike strips on the freeway. You know, the 14, you can see it in Desmond's shot here. It's about 4 lanes right there. I don't know how wide it was when they did it, but certainly successful enough that they were able to get that done, even going at those fast speeds. And I think Des is with us. Des, I know we saw that tire sparking a little bit, or smoking at least a little bit.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of smoke there at the distance. I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing any sparks yet at this point. I mean, at some point, it's probably going to wear through enough of the rim and get down to the brake caliper, and then things are really going to start to spark here. So we know that the vehicle is also blacked out earlier at some point. They have their lights on now. Fortunately, they're definitely starting to have some trouble keeping speed, though, as it looks like we're down to about 60-ish miles an hour. This is one of those big tank-like trucks right here. If this is a Ford, maybe a Ford F-250 or 350, I think. But, you know, full-size cab, definitely a big truck here. He's money these days as well. So we're going to try to stay on the driver's side if we're able to catch all of that. And right on cue, here come the sparks now coming off of the rim of that vehicle. And it looks like he's got the, okay, it's actually a GMC truck. I can see the logo now. But, you know, just because they're down to the rim doesn't mean that this is going to end anytime soon. We've seen plenty of pursuits, especially involving big trucks like this, where they just take this, like I said, until they wear through the rim and get down to the brake caliper and then even, you know, down to the axle. And it's really shocking how long these can go on. So those spike strips are designed to slowly deflate a tire, and it did its job. And, you know, when you have a big vehicle like this driving that quickly, it wears through that much more quickly as well. It's only been maybe, you know, 5 minutes that they've been on the rim now at this point, but more and more sparks starting to come out here, and you have to wonder what the suspect is thinking and how much longer they're going to keep up with this.
Well, and you can really see the rim there hitting the asphalt, Desmond. Just incredible that that's happening. And, of course, with this truck being so heavy and so big, as we're seeing it now, it's just incredible that it can keep going at these speeds.
Yeah, it really is incredible, but it's only a matter of time. As we know, you know, Desmond was talking about how the tire, I mean, the air will lose the air very slowly after the actual spike strip hits it. But, you know, even speaking of spike strips, we're talking about how they're doing it on the freeway. The CHP has to get in place. So they have to know that this person is coming towards them. They have to get ahead of them, first of all. Get the unit, again, ahead of this person, and then get in place, get that officer in place, and then throw those spike strips across the freeway. And, you know, if he, you know, changes lanes all of a sudden, Mike, I mean, that could be a different story.
Yeah, you know, the spikes would probably run about 2 lanes across the roadway, so that gives them a little bit of help. You know, what's also helpful about the 14 and even the 5, too, is you've got some decent chunk of land between exits, right? So it's not like he can really get off. He can't transition on a freeway. So at least you know if he's coming down on the 14, he's going to be on the 14 for at least a little while, which gives them some more flexibility to try to conduct that spike. But spikes, as you pointed out, Susie, not very common on the freeway. You see you've got that right turn signal on, and that tire is just really starting to spark. Now, we did hear them say, and you can see the rim there, it does look like there's a little bit of rubber maybe hanging on, but the units did see the tire actually disconnect from the rim and leave. And Des, I was going to ask you, does it look like the truck is, it's hard to tell because of the darkness and the angle, does it look like it's lifted at all? Or I'm wondering if that's why we're not seeing so much sparks coming off of it, if that rim is not hitting the ground all the way. Can you tell, Des?
I can't quite tell from this angle. We're going to get around to the other side here in a second. We're just kind of setting up with Van Nuys Airport right now as we are approaching their approach corridor. It's kind of hard to tell because you know, so many trucks these days, they're pretty high and huge anyway. I don't don't think that this truck is lifted, or if it is, not much, but I mean, it is definitely on some pretty big tires.
Yeah.
So, a lot of units behind this. It's really, they're just kind of going to wait this out, see how far the suspect wants to take it. And, speeds have actually increased a little bit here as we're actually kind of going uphill now away from Placerita towards the Newhall Pass. And, it would just be everybody's luck if this suspect starts, to conk out right when you make the merge with the southbound 5 and at that really busy interchange and blocking the freeways. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a standoff situation or anything like that. But, yeah, I mean, we've just come such a long way, and the suspect refusing, just kind of, I think, kind of running out the clock at this point. I mean, they were driving pretty fast at one point, making a serious attempt to get away, and then, up to 100 miles an hour, weren't able to avoid that spike strip. And a lot of times, that's all it takes for some suspects. Other suspects, they just kind of pretend like that's not what's happening. Like, nope, their tire is not deflated. I think we just had some more debris that flew off one of the rims there. And we'll just widen out and kind of show you. You've got the, not having obviously any trouble tracking this with the 3 units overhead, as well as the LA County Sheriff's deputies' spotlights. So, yep, just a matter of time, but that's kind of up to the suspect at this point.
And traffic pretty light on the 14 freeway right now. Mike, what you were thinking earlier was that the other 3 tires that are intact was keeping that rim off the ground just a little bit, just enough?
That's kind of what I'm thinking, and I think Des is right. I think just those kinds of trucks have larger tires to begin with, and that, obviously it's still hitting the ground because we are still seeing some of those sparks, but I think it may be helping elevate it just enough that it's not necessarily shredding like we usually see on a sedan or a car where everything's a little bit lower to the ground. So, I mean, we're down to 30 right now, but he has been on the rim for a decent amount of time. And even since we've been overhead, I mean, we've reached speeds of like 60, 70 miles an hour. And even after they spiked him, it was a good spike. Then they lost a tire. And at times they were still reporting speeds of up to 80, which is really crazy considering he's got no rubber on that front driver's side tire. So slowing down now, which is good because you've got a truck going this fast. You've got a front tire that is gone. That's going to obviously impact his ability to control the truck and negotiate turns and things like that. The last thing you want is essentially this missile shooting down the road with bad steering and hitting somebody that may be innocent in front of him.
And
No, I'm saying not a lot of people on the road right now. We can see it right here.
Yeah, it's true. And this is a stolen pickup truck, and who knows, Mike, what else they could be running from. Oftentimes, we do see something else going on here.
Right. Oftentimes that is the case, and especially in a situation like this where we don't know really anything about the driver. We're working with CHP to try to figure out if this is what's called a straight stolen, where it was just taken off the street, if this was a robbery type situation, if it was a forceful situation. We don't know the answer to any of that here just yet, and CHP's certainly trying to work it out. It's unclear if it was just ran the plate, came back stolen type of deal, which is usually the case, or if this was some witnessed event. If it was a witnessed event, they may be able to get a description of the person, but it does look like we've got our typical kind of pursuit tint, or at least it is dark in there. There we go. Now we're getting some good spikes on the left side.
Mike, do we know what city or what area it might have been stolen from?
We know where it was stolen from. No, we know the chase started up in the Palmdale area, so it's unclear if that's where it was stolen from or that's just where they kind of picked it up. We'll see if we can get back a hold of CHP.
All right, if you're just joining us here on KCAL News at 10, this is breaking news: a pursuit of a stolen pickup truck. The CHP doing a successful spike strip. The front right tire, we believe, or the front driver's side tire has actually been sparking, and no more tire, I should say, just on the metal there. And we're hoping that this will disable that car, and hopefully this person will pull over soon. But as Mike and Desmond have both been pointing out, they have been going at higher rates of speed, even with this tire gone. On that driver's side. Just incredible to see. But as we've seen before, Juan, we've seen them even traveling really slow. Incredible to see. But as we've seen before, Juan, we've seen them even traveling really slowly and for a long time, even going with those sparks.
Yeah, it's always surprising. This is a very large GMC truck, as Desmond giving us a nice side view there. You can see just how long it is, how wide it is. It's so heavy. And we do know that these trucks usually have bigger tires. That you could imagine it must have been a really successful spike strip to get that one tire to deflate and basically break off. And now this driver is on one rim and 3 tires on the 14, Mike?
Yeah, so I can tell you a K9 unit has joined the chase. The K9 unit is asking the dispatchers what information we know about the truck. Do we know how many people are inside? Do we know if there's any firearms? Do we know anything like that? The dispatcher says no. We have none of that
No
information.
info.
So that leads me to believe this was either a straight stolen or we ran the plate and it came back stolen, and we're working on info about it. But the canine unit, because they've been given permission to deploy the canine at the end of this. If this guy gets out and run, they're going to let the canine go after him and get him. So the canine unit wants to know some of the particulars, right? Is there a weapon? How many people are in the truck? All of those things. And the dispatcher says, we don't know that. CHP, Angelina on our desk letting me know right now in my ear, telling us it was stolen out of Redlands. So we are obviously very far from Redlands. Redlands out in the Inland Empire in San Bernardino County, working on figuring out when that was, how long has been the gap between, now and then. But now we know that these officers, these CHP officers that are chasing it, simply probably just picked up the stolen. It was not necessarily something that they witnessed or a 911 call or anything like that.
But so many questions still, like, are they armed or not? How many people are inside this vehicle? We still don't know.
We still don't know that. CHP doesn't know that either. And I believe, Des, are we exiting?
No, we're just making the transition here officially from the South 14 now, dumping us onto the southbound 5, and you see the southbound Balboa off-ramp. It looks like it was coned off for construction right there, and you can see the truck really kind of listing at this point now. And now that I got another look at it, it looks like it might be slightly lifted, Mike. It's not like one of those crazy monster trucks or anything, but maybe slightly. But it is just kind of hard to tell these days because these trucks have just gotten so big. As far as just how high they are, frankly. So. We've kind of been going between 40 and 60 miles an hour, but we are solidly now into the San Fernando Valley, coming up to the 210 next, and then the 118 and the 405. So what's the suspect strategy here? Again, it just seems like, running out the clock. I mean, who knows if they're, under the influence of something or some other mental health issues behind the scenes as well. But also always aggravating for CHP with the pursuit tint, super dark windows, can't see what is going on inside, and again, no information about if this person is armed and dangerous. I will say that where you were talking about the canine unit there, Mike, and I heard the dog actually barking on the radio. It sounds like they already have that dog hyped up for a potential, if the suspect gets out and runs, that dog is going to be ready and amped up to get out there and take the suspect down pretty quickly.
So, Mike, having a canine unit chase this pursuit, I'm wondering, is that a normal thing? Is it because they were the closest ones?
No, they specifically requested it. So we've been listening. They have specifically requested the canine unit. And CHP's canine functions slightly differently than some of the other big agencies. Like, for example, LAPD's canine, they have like I can't remember exactly how many dogs, but 4, 5, 6 dogs on a shift at a time. And they're part of Metropolitan Division, and they'll roll all together. They're not just simply out on patrol. CHP's canine units are out on patrol as well. So they're a King unit is what it's called on the radio, and they were requested to join and come to this pursuit. So they did specifically request that canine unit and have given pre-authorization to deploy the canine should this person get out and run at the end of the chase.
And I take it that these are specially trained canine that are trained on freeways, on roadways, jumping medians, doing whatever they need to do. And I wonder just how far these canines will go to get the suspect, to get their target.
Well, I'll tell you, very infrequently can a suspect outrun a canine.
Right.
Once they get out of that truck, that canine's going to get cut out of the door, and he'll just chase off after that suspect, and it usually doesn't last very long. But to your point, Juan, CHP canines do go through their training with the California Highway Patrol, and they are certainly trained on how to deal with navigating freeways and medians and sound walls and different obstacles that may kind of approach them when they're in the course of their training with the CHP. As we're looking at this GMC truck that's had their kind of right turn signal on, it looks like, I can't tell if that's writing on the back window or something kind of right there in that
might be
area.
Somebody's work truck too, Mike, huh?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, potentially. And that plate, I can't tell if that's a regular plate or a temporary plate as well. That plate looks slightly off.
It looks a little black and white. It could be a dealer plate or a temporary plate for sure. And you can see a little bit of the molding on where the rim is that's coming off the car as well. So we're seeing some damage to the frame of the truck as well.
Yeah, and I think when Des just doubled in, it did look like a dealer plate or a plate of a newer car. So that kind of sucks too. I mean, if somebody just bought this truck and it's been stolen and now it's on the... Yeah, and now it's on, lost a front tire. There's now body damage from the molding that is coming off as a result of losing the tire. I mean, it's really unfortunate for whoever owns it.
I wonder if it's a loaner truck, too. Sometimes car dealerships have that writing on the window where it'll say loaner vehicle or something like that.
Yeah, like a courtesy car or something. Yeah.
Desmond, going a lot slower than we first were when we first came to you.
Yeah, down to maybe, 40-something miles an hour, but this truck is still, really taking it, just kind of cruising along at 40-ish miles an hour, that we're not seeing more sparks or flames or, you know, really intense heat coming from this is kind of remarkable at this point. Usually we start to see, you know, the nonstop sparks by now. In fact, when I heard about this, I was kind of briefly worried that, you know, you could start a brush fire or something if he was in the right-hand lane, because we have actually had brush fires start on the 14 freeway because of sparks coming from vehicles before. So fortunately, obviously that did not happen, but it looks like we are going to be making our way into Mission Hills now at this point. Yep, southbound on the 405, so we've already made the transition here. He's just been kind of staying to the right the entire time, so we'll be crossing the 118. They could take the westbound 118 from here, or we're going to just get into, you know, busier and busier territory. And, you know, we know there's been a lot of Caltrans work on the 405. I don't think they're working this evening, though, in the Sepulveda Pass with that lengthy project, but regardless, just getting into a much more populated area. You know, we've covered a lot of ground, obviously, making our way from Palmdale, and a lot of ground as well on only 3 tires now at this point. It's only had 3 tires since we came to air. That tire fell off just shortly before we had it there on the lens. Right around Agua Dulce, I believe, is where that came down. So it is still, pun intended here, back up to, we were down to 40, but now back up to almost 60 miles an hour, and wonder how much more this truck can take before it just causes so much damage that it will become undrivable.
Yeah, is he going to run out of gas, you know, before he gets stopped by the tire that's no longer there? You know, Desmond, let's talk about ways other ways that the CHP can try to get this guy to stop. I mean, you know, right now, again, we have a spike strip that's already been activated. You know, with the pit maneuver, it would be very difficult, especially at these speeds, right?
Yeah, we're definitely, I don't think we would see a pit, especially with only 3 tires. We have seen multiple spike strip attempts before, though. I mean, I don't think there's anything stopping them if they wanted to try to spike the passenger side front tire. They could potentially do that, and the suspect's been kind of sticking to one lane consistently enough, and now with speed slow enough that they would be able to time it if they were really that devoted to trying to get this over. But now we're starting to see quite a few more sparks, and, you know, like you said, Juana, we were covering that pursuit together with that semi that caught
That's
fire.
right,
And that is going to be a real concern for this suspect, and I could just imagine if the owner of this is watching right now and just gasping. I mean, I know how much a lot of people that buy these trucks, they really, really love these trucks, and they are not cheap. I know that. So it's just really got to have the owner's heart sinking watching this, and hoping that, you know, the vehicle stops before any more damage is done, before it becomes a total loss.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot more sparks there. And Mike and Des, maybe you both would know, do you think that's a spike strip or a piece of that's dangling from, I mentioned it might be some molding from the vehicle.
Yeah.
You think it's a spike strip?
No, I think that's the molding. But look, when you look under, it's not the rim that's sparking. There's something else underneath of the truck that it looked like when he hit one of the bumps, maybe he got dislodged. And it looks like it's kind of hanging down there, almost just slightly to the right of the rim. And that's what keeps hitting the ground. Every now and again, when it catches the light just right, you can see it kind of bouncing there, and then it hits the ground and sparks. But if you look at the actual rim, the sparks aren't coming from the actual rim. So it looks like there's something else underneath of there that is dragging kind of on the ground that is causing those sparks. But Juan, to your question, that to me looks like the molding. I don't think, and Des, let me tell you what you tell me what you think as well. I don't think that's one of the spikes, though.
No, I think you're right. I think it might be kind of part of the wheel well that was probably
it's kind of flapping around.
Damaged, maybe, you know, from that spike strip, or when the wheel dislodged and caused that damage. So, yeah, I'm trying to think what is underneath right there. What Mike would be talking about. I mean, if it's part of the brake caliper that's making the contact already, or definitely, or, you know, a suspension component, of which these kind of trucks have, you know, very heavy duty components as well.
There it is. Whatever it was just fell out.
It's just.
And the spark stopped. Yep.
Yeah, it's really just a. But this has got to be super uncomfortable to drive too. I mean, there's got to be a horrible grinding noise that is coming, you know, into the cockpit, and a nasty smell probably to go along with it. Here, as they're in the left lane, and look at this. We actually briefly picked up speed.
Oh, wow.
Really heavy sparks now. Now it's really getting serious, at this point. And now we're in serious jeopardy of a fire, and the suspects actually got their hazard lights on now. And slowing down a little bit more and getting over to the right. Let's just hope the suspect has had enough now as they're getting off here at Roscoe. So, another very busy exit here. Are they going to be able to stop the vehicle okay here at the bottom of this off-ramp? Let's see as we come up to this this T intersection here, but this is going to be really frightening for anyone in this vehicle's way. Trying to make a out. Okay, doors
Getting
open.
out of the car. Is that the back?
Okay.
Oh, he's giving up.
We got hands out all of a sudden. So, yeah, I think it just maybe got a little bit too uncomfortable for this suspect at this point, and finally kind of wised up to not burn the truck down potentially. But the writing was really on the wall one way or another. There was no getting away, especially after that tire fell out, and so they decided they had enough, and they were even courteous enough to get off of the freeway and here at the bottom of the off-ramp, so CHP won't have to block the entire 405, hopefully just the Roscoe off-ramp. Suspect coming out immediately with their hands up, and as long as we'll see if there's nobody else in the vehicle, but yeah, just like that, comes to an end here in the North Hills Van Nuys area.
The good thing is they didn't have to deploy that canine, right, Mike?
Yeah, there he is. Look, right there on the left side of your screen. That canine, ready to go. That officer with the blue vest, and then you see the dog barking and letting them know he's there. That is certainly a deterrent for people, by the way, when they are deciding whether or not what their move's going to be. They hear that dog barking.
That'll get you moving for sure. I mean, he came out, with his hands up without even the commands that were usually, they were usually shouted after that they come to a complete stop. But here they are right now. He came out first out of the car. Obviously, they don't like, suspects to do that because of the fact that they could be armed and they don't know. But it looks like they've already checked for that, and now they're just going to clear him and put him into this vehicle and put him under arrest. Looks like this is now coming to an end after they clear the vehicle. They're going to go to the passenger side. And this is on the right side of your screen, what was happening right before the suspect decided to actually exit off Roscoe, off the 405 freeway. The first time we're seeing them on the surface streets, by the way, during this whole chase. They were mostly on the freeways, from the 14 to the 5 southbound to the 405 southbound. And they just pulled over here and got right out of their car without officers even having to yell their commands as they usually do after they come to that stop. But it looks like it's coming to an end here.
And it was those massive sparks that finally convinced the driver to get off the freeway. Look at that, still sparking there. This is on the right-hand side of your screen. Just seconds ago, when he came to a stop, he luckily was able to stop the truck right there at the red light. Came outside, didn't even turn around, Susie. Look at this, didn't even turn around. It was hands up, and in fact, we didn't even see him turn around until after officers turned him around after he was in cuffs already.
That's right, and looks like he is in cuffs now, and a CHP officer reading him his rights, I imagine, and is going to be put into that car and then hauled off to jail for night. And, it's interesting because, again, the spike strip on the freeway and the precision that CHP officers have to do something like that. All right, it looks like the stolen pickup pursuit comes to an end.
Yep, code 4.
That's right. CHP officers arrest the suspect.